This is Pop Culture Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss our memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
And I'm Gif.
All right. Let's again, we're out of order tonight, so it's going to be a little confusing for us here. We've recorded the next one already before this, but we're pros.
We are. Well, and that one, our first episode of next month, we got a fun guest.
Surprise.
Yeah, a little surprise there. So
yeah, that was why it got out of order, because of timing with a certain guest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So we're closing out 1984 tonight.
We are.
For the second time, maybe not the last either.
Right.
And we're going to talk about a movie called Beverly Hills Cop. And this was mostly your idea, Gifford. So you tell us a little bit about why this is so important.
So, yes, watching it again this time around, I'm convinced that I would have recorded this off of the late night movie on ABC or whatever, because it was edited. There was just different lines watching it unedited again this time that weren't in full force, if you will, for television airing. So that's the first time I would have watched it. I suppose maybe 2 years after it came out. How long does a TV broadcast wait to show something?
Oh, at least a year back then, I think.
Mm-hmm. And with this coming out late in 84, probably would have been, late 85, maybe early 86. So, this was absolutely huge. And of course, this is the number one movie of 1984 in the U.S. So, Eddie definitely, this was the big one for him that really
It's a juggernaut,
catapulted him into, international stardom. Obviously, in the States, we knew who he was, but this was his fourth movie, but first one where he was the man. He'd been with Nick Nolte, he'd been with Aykroyd, but he's carrying this, and this is his vehicle. So, what do you remember the first time you watched this movie?
Well, funny. So, I was 8 when this came out, and so I wasn't really going to watch it, although I saw a lot of R-rated movies, but this isn't one I saw, and it just became one of those movies I never saw it. I knew of it. I saw clips. I mean, I recognized it, but I never actually watched it until about a week ago. And so when you suggested it for this month, I was like really excited and like demanded that we do it, because for selfish reasons, like, okay, I'm going to watch it now. Then I need to see this movie that everybody thinks is so great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I didn't see it. Like, I saw Trading Places. I saw Coming to America, which we've talked about and we've had great episodes on. I love those movies. I love Eddie Murphy. I just didn't see it. So I don't know. So I was excited to have the excuse. And so much like the Terminator, which I just recently watched for the first time too, you're getting my new reactions to these things that most people saw a long time ago.
Well, and it surprises me because, again, you've said, well, I didn't watch Terminator because I was a comedy guy.
Right.
But this was definitely in the comedy. But it's an R-rated comedy.
And action. And again, I wasn't into action movies really at all until Die Hard. I didn't, and this was comedy, but it was mostly action too. And I don't know. I think that's probably the reason why. I just did not watch action movies. There was hardly any that I knew anything about.
Okay.
For the first better half or more of the decade of the 80s.
Right. Well, and that's great. I mean, again, that's one of the fun things about doing the show here is we get to fill those pop culture holes that we have in our repertoires. So this came out nationwide December 5th of 84, had a $13 million budget and raked in $320 million at the box office. So this was the number one movie of the year. Ghostbusters was number 2. And I think it's nuts to think that Eddie Murphy was going to be in Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd wrote the part thinking it was going to be Belushi and Murphy and Aykroyd in Ghostbusters. So regardless, Eddie was going to be in one of the biggest movies of the year. It's just absolutely great. Temple of Doom was number 3 in the U.S., number 1 overall for the world that year, and then Gremlins followed by Karate Kid at number 5. So huge movie for Eddie. It was nominated for Golden Globe for Best Comedy and Oscar nominated for Best Original Screenplay.
So it was a giant hit, but it was also very critically acclaimed. So 83% on Rotten Tomatoes by the critics and 82 by the audience, which I'm surprised is
Mhm.
actually not higher by the audience, considering how
Right.
beloved it was. But I
Yep.
did look up some reviews, specifically our friends Siskel and Ebert,
Mhm.
and they were not fans. I don't know if you looked this up or not.
I didn't.
So Ebert called it stunningly routine, but he does like Eddie Murphy and thinks he's great. He just thought that the writing was terrible. The scenes were overplayed, quote, embarrassing and unbelievable. He gave it, said it was a bad script and an assembly line crime thriller, which I thought was funny because it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay.
Right. And
So,
Golden Globe Best Comedy. Like, I mean, you know,
so not
um,
only did he not like it, I mean, he was ripping on it. And then Siskel faulted the director and he said the movie sputters and they gave it a pretty good 2 thumbs down.
wow.
And while I disagree, and most fans do, there's times where I can see what they're saying, though. I wouldn't go that far, but like it wasn't, it didn't blow me away, which maybe, it would have back then.
Mhm.
I liked it a lot. It was fine. But some of the comments they made, there's parts of the movie where I can see that. I wouldn't go as far as they did, but I can
Right.
kind of see where they're coming from. And I don't know if this is one of those where maybe they've reviewed it again 20 years later, if they would give it a different
Mhm.
grade or not. But anyway,
Yep.
they did not like it, but it was very highly acclaimed by most other critics and
Well,
nominated for several awards.
and amazing that it's nominated for Best Original Screenplay because they were continually rewriting the script.
In
I
fact, it
mean,
wasn't
over
done with the Eddie Murphy like input and blessing until the day before they started filming the movie.
yes, and the reason for that. So, this movie was originally written just as an action flick, and they rewrote it, threw in some
Well, I think wasn't it
comedy
action
stuff.
comedy, but Mickey Rourke turned it into a strict action movie is what I thought it was. Or Stallone did.
Oh, Stallone did. So it was
It
it was a comedy. They mixed in some comedy,
yeah.
brought on Mickey Rourke, even put him on retainer. I think they gave him 400 grand or something. There was delays, so he passed, and they brought in Stallone, and Stallone moved it back to strictly an action movie, and they didn't like where he was going with it. They I read a thing how they came up with trying to get him off the project, which was kind of crazy. And he ended up using some of the stuff that he wrote for his 1986 movie Cobra, but it was a straight action flick. And one of the things I read was that he said in the final scene, it's him in a Lambo playing chicken with a train. I
Yeah.
don't know if Stallone knows this, but a train can't swerve. Like that, you can't play chicken with a train. It's not going to work.
No, it
You know?
sounded very dark. I'm glad that they
Yes.
did not go that way. Plus, he had to leave anyway to do the cinematic
Mhm.
masterpiece Rhinestone. Once,
Rhinestone. Yes.
so he went from this biggest movie of the year possibly to Rhinestone. And we love Dolly Parton, but that movie was not well received.
Well, and obviously, I don't think it would have been the biggest movie of the year if he would have done it the way he wanted to.
No,
Obviously,
for sure
Cobra
not.
in '86 wasn't the biggest movie of the year because that was more in line with what he wanted this movie to be. So yeah, he backed out. He left 2 weeks before filming began. So they had to completely rewrite this thing, bring on Murphy, and then they were just writing as the movie was filming. And there was ad lib stuff in there, of course. But that's the amazing part to me is that it's nominated for an Oscar for this work that really wasn't finished, even while they started filming.
And
Yeah.
there were others considered as well. Richard Pryor, so a
Mhm.
comedy guy, Al Pacino, James Caan, and Harrison Ford all were considered as
Yeah.
well before they did eventually nail it down with Eddie Murphy. And then the other one, the other what if was that it was offered to direct to Martin Scorsese.
Mhm.
but he felt it was too similar to another movie, an older movie called Coogan's Bluff, and he passed on it. But it could have been a Martin Scorsese movie,
Mhm.
which would have been another whole different thing. And it also did win a Grammy for Best Score. And when we get into the movie, that's one of the best parts of this movie is the music. It just blows you away from the
Yes.
beginning. So
Well, yeah,
as a
you have
soundtrack,
3
it won the best score, not at the Oscars, but at the Grammys.
at the Grammys, correct. But, I mean, you're looking at 3 top 10 singles in Axel F., The Heat Is On, and Neutron Dance, and then, um, Patti LaBelle had Stir It Up, and also New Attitude, which hit in the top 20.
Oh
So,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
remember New Attitude. That was a good one.
massive, massive soundtrack here for sure. Um,
And no Kenny Loggins.
and know what?
No Kenny Loggins.
No, that's correct.
80s soundtrack. I mean, you'd think.
Mhm. Yeah, they didn't need him for this one. Director, Martin Brest, was brought on late because, like you said, we went through not only actors but a lot of directors in this, and he didn't want to do it. He had just been fired from his previous project, um, and he wasn't sure about doing it. He actually ended up flipping a coin and decided to do it. So he did Beverly Hills Cop, which was a Metacritic score 7.4. Then he does Midnight Run, 7.5. Scent of a Woman in 92, 8.0. Meet Joe Black, 7.2. And the last thing he directed, Geely in '03, was a 2.7. So
Kind of fell right off the
that,
cliff there.
that one was it for him in '03. So he hasn't directed anything since. And yeah,
Midnight
that's a
Run is
tough
one
one to
that
get.
I think you haven't seen. Is that right? Yeah, that's a good one. That's one we should go back to because I hadn't seen it either back then, but I watched it a few years ago. That's a really good movie. That'd be a fun one to watch. All right, but we're not here to talk about Midnight Run tonight. We're here to talk about Beverly Hills Cop. So, Gifford, why don't you lead us through the cast of this movie? You said it was kind of a Bill, or not Bill Murray, an Eddie Murphy vehicle, but there's other
Yeah.
people in this movie. Who are they?
Well, of course, we have Eddie Murphy. The first movie he got top billing in. But of course, we have Judge Reinhold, who we all love as Brad, of course. And
We all love Brad's.
we love Brad's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He plays Detective Billy Rosewood. We got John Ashton as Sergeant Taggart. And this is kind of the one thing I know him from. He has a ton of credits. I think he's
So he
got
was in
90
Midnight
some.
Run.
Yes, he was in Midnight Run, which I would know if I've seen it.
But he's just one of those guys that has a face that you just know him.
Mhm.
Like he's one of those guys that and when I looked at his filmography, I didn't really recognize a lot of the stuff. But I mean, I know
Mhm.
him, and I hadn't seen Beverly Hills Cop, and I've seen him in several movies
Well, yeah,
or TV
96
shows.
acting credits, so quite a bit there. We got Lisa
Eilbacher
Eilbacher, yes, as Jenny Summers, a friend of Axel from back in the day. Ronnie Cox plays Lieutenant Bogomil. I recognize him a few years later in RoboCop,
and
uh,
Total Recall
play,
with Arnold.
playing a bad guy and playing a bad guy again. Stephen Burkoff
Can we go
plays
back to
Victor
Ronnie Cox
Maitland.
for a second?
Yes, please.
Because he also played the banjo alongside the weird kid in Deliverance, which I thought was an
Really?
interesting little factoid.
I think I've only
At least in
seen
one of
that
the
movie once.
banjo scenes, it said he played opposite with the kid.
Okay. James Russo plays Mikey Tandino, and he was the guy at the end of Fast Times, right? Who was robbing the convenience store.
I don't
I
remember.
think that was the thing I thought I remembered him from. We've got Jonathan Banks plays Zach, and of course,
Yes,
we love him as Mike Ehrmantraut from Better Call Saul.
and Breaking Bad.
Well, yeah.
And he's crazy because you recognize him, but it's so long ago. And like you never knew him from anything until Breaking Bad. Even if you saw this, you probably didn't, remember that he was in it. I'm guessing.
Right.
So to see him in something like 30 years before Breaking Bad, and as a younger man, kind of interesting.
Well,
Surprising.
and I mean, we know him from he was in Gremlins the same year. Stephen Elliott plays Chief Hubbard, and we got Gilbert R. Hill plays Inspector Todd. So Gilbert R. Hill is a real life Detroit homicide detective, and the only credits he has is from Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, and 3. And he is absolutely spectacular. Love his character in this. And I haven't seen 3, I saw 2. But he is great in this. We got Bronson Pinchot as Serge. He absolutely steals his scenes.
And I knew he was in this movie. And from all the talk I'd heard about him in this movie, I thought he had a bigger part, but it's a pretty small part.
But very memorable.
Yeah, right. It is.
To be
But
sure.
I thought it was more like he was one of the main characters from what I had heard about him without seeing the movie.
Sure. And he's just got 2 short scenes, and that's about it. But he's great. We got Paul Reiser plays Detroit detective Jeffrey in the beginning of the movie here.
He gets a little bigger part in number 2.
Yes, he does.
Comes back again as well.
Yep. I've got some other bit folks here.
Well, you got to mention Damon Wayans.
Yes, I was going to say, I got Damon Wayans. This is his first movie role. So he's on screen for about 15 seconds. But again, I always remembered that scene with him in it. And really, that's
all I got.
That's about it, right? I mean, there's, a lot of other folks too, but those
and
are
like
the
you
ones
said,
I remember.
this is an Eddie Murphy movie, so there's a lot of people, in it, but not any of the big stars that you normally might see. A lot of character actors, a lot of people you recognize,
right?
But not too many other standouts.
The only other one I'd mention is the director, Martin Brest, is the checkout clerk at the end of the movie at the Beverly Palm. So that is the director of the film. But yeah, other than that, I didn't really have anybody else of note in this. So, I did have one other fun fact. This movie holds the record for the most Betamax rentals in history.
That's a good one.
In 1984, the Betamax was still a rival to VHS, and then started to be beat out and phased out. So Beverly Hills Cop, most Betamax rentals ever.
Well, congratulations to Beverly Hills Cop. That's a big win right there.
Exactly. So you want to get into the movie then? Get into some scenes?
So it starts off really good. You've got The Heat Is On playing right away, which just immediately.
What a great start to the movie. I mean, it's just wonderful. And then of course the scenery, they're really, setting up the 2 different worlds that we have here, right? I mean, you're Detroit, you're seeing a lot of poverty. And of course we know it's Beverly Hills Cop, so that's where he's going, but they're trying to set up, where Axel Foley is coming from. So
yeah, then you have this big chase scene, and it's really fantastic. You've got this because it's got a giant semi, and it's sliding all over the place, and it's running over things, and there's explosions, and Eddie's like hanging on to a chain and swinging around. And again, I didn't like action movies as a kid, but this was an awesome opening scene just because of the use of the truck and the power that it had. It was really cool. Yep. And then you got the music playing. The Neutron dance is playing. I mean, it's so like you go from one great song to another, and you got the action. And it's like, okay, this is how you start a movie. This is how you get somebody hooked right off the bat.
Yes. And another fun fact, that is the last scene that was shot for the movie. So I'm just going to start early on in the beginning here as far as scenes. The scene where he's checking into the Beverly Palm Hotel, this is what he's going to do throughout the entire film. He's going to just bulldoze people. He's going to make stuff up in order to get his way. And I just love seeing it right here because, he comes to town, he just heard that the hotel was full, and, he slides up to the counter, and says who he is, and then he says, "Oh wait, no, I check Axel Foley, Rolling Stone magazine," and then they tell him there's nothing available, and he starts just having a fit, saying he's there to interview Michael Jackson. I was going to call the Michael Jackson sitting on top of the world, which I believe it was Playboy magazine had just done an article on Eddie Murphy, and the title was similar to that he was sitting on top of the world. So
So
it's
this is
just
the scene
mhm.
that Siskel and Ebert showed in their review that Ebert just said was too stupid, and he did not like it, and he thought it was, what was that quote again? He said it was overdone, embarrassing, and unbelievable, overplayed.
Mhm.
And so he does not agree with you on Eddie trying to get his way here and how he went about that. He didn't think it was well done at all.
Well, and of course, yeah, it's probably not real believable, but this is the charisma that Murphy has. I mean, he holds the scene so well. Um, you're pulling for him, you're laughing because you've got these, the gullible workers, and of course they're going to be a little bit on pins and needles because he brings up the fact that he's black, and this is why he's not getting a room. So right away they're going to acquiesce, and even though that's not the reason, but it's just great. It's just a fun scene, and I just love how it sets up. This is how he's gonna comport himself in Beverly Hills. He can just make stuff up and get by with it. So I think it's great.
If you go back to the chase scene again, too, I just wanted to point out, I don't know if you noticed this, but I'm always thrown by the cop cars in these 80s and like even early 90s movies like Home Alone. The lights are so
Mhm.
weird. It's like, do you remember cop cars looking like that when we were kids?
No,
With these giant weird lights, and they look like they're from the 60s or something. They look so out of place. And they were in
yeah.
this movie again, and it's like, I don't remember them looking like that ever. But it's crazy how
Well,
different they are compared to what we see now and for the last many years.
and this is probably why it only had a $14 million budget, because I think Eddie was paid something like $4 million of that $14 million. If you look at those Detroit cop cars, it's just a sticker on the side of the car that says like Detroit police. So
So
I'm
maybe the
sure
lights looked better in real life.
the lights were probably some piece of crap stock thing. And they're like, okay, let's go find some blue cars. We'll slap some stickers on the doors. And then we've got these sirens that are way out of date. We're just going to slap them up on there. And these are our police cars for the beginning scene. So yeah, those stickers were great on the doors.
The other thing, just in case you're like me and you're not as familiar with the movie, we should mention the reason why Axel goes to Beverly Hills from Detroit is because his
Mm.
friend was murdered in Detroit, and he had the lead that these people were in Beverly Hills. And so he went out there on his own to investigate this. That's what brought him
Yes.
to this
Oh,
world.
you know what? We never did a synopsis for our movie.
No, we're doing it right now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the
I
basis
just
is
did it
we've
right
got
there. He goes to
yeah,
investigate the murder of his friend, and so he's put into a whole new world out here.
correct. So he's got an old buddy comes back from uh Beverly Hills who had been working with another friend of theirs in Beverly Hills. So that's his lead to get over to Beverly Hills, figure out what the hell is going on here. So he takes a vacation to Beverly Hills, and he's going to investigate this crime and run afoul of the Beverly Hills Police Department. Um, what's another scene you got?
So it's skipping ahead a little bit, but if we don't need to go in order, I
No.
like the whole strip club scene, not because of the strip
Yes.
club, but because he's working together with these two cops. At first, they all don't like him, but there's some really good lines in this part.
Mhm.
Um, and so he has to explain to the chief that Billy, Rosewood, and Taggart were heroes here, and
Mhm.
he has this whole super cop story. And then
Yes.
when the chief asks Taggart, he admits right away what happened, and none of that's true. And I just love it. And he goes to him, the super cop story was working. It was working. You fuck up a
Yes.
perfectly good lie.
Yes, I wrote down the fuck up a perfectly good lie. Yes, that is outstanding. And if you watch that scene, so that's a scene that Eddie Murphy completely ad libbed. Eddie Murphy is known for not taking drugs of any kind, but they were kind of working long days, and they were asking him, "Do you want some coffee?" He didn't even want coffee, but he started taking some sips during this scene while they're trying to get it put together. So he is completely wired. He's
Well,
going
that's what
through
it
this
looks like
super
too.
Yes, he's going through this super cop story that he's making up as he goes. And if
Which
you
is
look
not
at
working.
Taggart, no, if you look at Taggart, Taggart puts his head in his hands, like over his eyes, kind of, like, oh, he's, the Chief's not buying this. This isn't going anywhere. But really, Ashton is hiding his laughter in this scene because he is losing it. And um, Reinhold has his hand in his pocket, and this is his story. He's pinching his leg super hard, trying not to laugh because they're just dying at what he's doing. So, yes, that is one of the best scenes is the super cops. He just has it roll right off his tongue, and it's just the best.
But what I liked
Um,
about that scene is they start to kind of connect.
mhm,
He brings them to the strip club, which they don't want to do and everything. But then he tries to stand up for him and he tries to get him off, which they don't accept. But like
right,
this is kind of where the turn takes place, where they
mhm,
become more helpful to each other, which needs to happen, of course,
right.
for the movie to
Well,
go
and
on and end happily.
and I mean, of course, Axel is always having fun trying to pull one over. He takes him to a place for a drink. He calls it a nice conservative place, and then of course they flash right to they're in a strip club. But you see that Axel is a good cop. He's the one who's kind of he's paying attention, even though he's laying down his story of why Maitland is this bad guy. But even during that, he sees these two come in. Taggart and Rosewood, they don't know what's going on. Rosewood looks like it's the first time he's seen a naked lady. He's Axel's giving him dollars and telling him to put it in her G string. Um, but you see that he's the one who figures out the situation and is able to thwart this robbery. So yeah,
Well, and
definitely a, a,
he's
a
very
good turning point.
impressionable, Rosewood, because
Yes.
earlier to throw them off, he sends room service to their car sitting outside his hotel.
Hmm.
And like Rosewood loves it. He wants more. And he's like, thinks it's really nice and is enjoying the food, even though it's all just to try to distract them while he puts bananas in their tailpipe.
That is correct. And that's of course where we get to see Damon Wayans because he's, a worker in the hotel at the buffet. So you take these bananas, you have these bananas here. Uh, so uh one of the scenes that I really love, of course, we talked about Bronson Pinchot. The art gallery scene with Serge is absolutely great. He is just I don't I mean he's not of this land, right? He's got a really heavy accent, but he's trying to be super smooth. Um and I just love when Axel comes in and Serge starts talking to him. Axel just looks at him and goes, "I don't understand what you've said." Like, he can't understand a word that Serge is saying. And they look at this table with these rotating heads, and Axel asks him, like, "Hey, how much does this go for?" And he's like, "Oh, it's like $130,000." And Axel goes, "Get the fuck out of here!" And Serge goes, "No, I cannot. It's a very important piece." I just love how his response of "No, I cannot" is just great. So I love Serge in this. He is great, and he's offering him a an espresso. He makes it right in the
Uh,
back.
and he asks, "Do you want it with a lemon twist?"
Yes.
Which, of course, I love that line because it also reminds me of LA Story, where everybody orders a drink with a twist of lemon.
Aha. See, and they're
See,
LA. It's an
yep,
LA
and
thing.
it all makes sense.
Mhm. What's another scene you got?
Well, I would pretty much kind of jump to the end for the
Okay.
as far as scenes. I because it kind of ties to the one I just brought up because he tells the whole super cop story, and they won't go with it. They're also by the book in Beverly Hills, but at the end, Bogomil, the
Mhm.
actual lead guy,
Lieutenant.
makes up a
Yep.
huge story to explain all the stuff that happened, and
Yep.
Taggart backs him up, and it's not even led by Eddie, by Axel. So I just
Mhm.
thought the ending, it's kind of a cool ending, and they all work together. And of course, they're all friends now. And when you get to Beverly Hills Cop 2, they're still in touch and they're all friends. Um, but Bogomil taking the lead on telling the wild story and getting
Mhm.
everybody off. I thought that was cool.
Right. Yeah, because in the end, they got the bad guy. The bad guy was the
Right.
bad guy, and they didn't do it by the book, but, you know, they got their man. This scene, I just love how, um, the bad guys can't shoot, right? I mean, they're putting a ton of
Oh
lead in
yeah.
the air, but just
Wild
cannot
shooting
hit.
at this mansion, and they're all using like a different classic movie style, like you jump
Yeah,
out and you point and you pelt back, or you're down below, and like everybody's got a different like choreography to their shooting, and it's that's pretty funny too because it's kind of lame, and they never hit.
yep,
Although Eddie does get shot, but he doesn't die.
he does. Correct. Yeah, and, the there's parts of this scene that, it's obviously bonkers, but one of the things that always kinda bugged me in this scene is when he's being, chased by Mike Ehrmantraut, uh, through the house, and he runs down a hallway and then shoots back blindly around the corner, just sticks his hand around the corner and shoots, but then he leaves his hand there with his gun hanging out, like, the guy coulda shot your hand off, like, why would
I
you
don't remember
leave
that.
your hand out there, and not look around the corner, so that was
The
a
other
little nuts.
nice
Yeah?
the other nice thing about the ending there is that when it's all kind of done, it's Billy, Judge Reinhold, who gets to yell the arrest at all the bad guys.
Yes.
And then he smiles because it's like his big shining moment because he's kind of the dopey one. And it's nice that everybody kind of gets their little part in the sun there.
Right. Well, and even while him and Taggart are pinned down, like, he's even telling Taggart, like, "Oh, I just keep thinking about the last scene of Butch
Butch
Cassidy and the
Cassidy,
Sundance Kid," and I mean, he's in mortal danger, and he's still just having a good old time.
keeping it light.
Um Well, and one of the fun things about this movie is the interplay between Rosewood and Taggart, because Taggart's the old grizzled vet, or maybe not old, but he's been around a lot longer, and Rosewood's this younger guy, so he's got a little bit more pep in his step, and they really are kind of like an old married couple. Like, they have scenes where they're on the stakeout, and Rosewood's reading an article about by the time you're 50, you have 5 pounds of red meat in your bowel, and Taggart's like, why would you tell me that? He's like, well, because I see you eating a lot of red meat. It's like, it's
They are
just
the
this old,
classic odd couple.
yes, for sure. And that's the way they cast this movie. They'd bring pairs in for those parts and see who played well off of each other. So I thought those two were great in this movie together.
One of the other little things is said about, I mean, the plot, it's all kind of complicated, of course, whatever the bad guys are up to, but part of it had to do with German bearer bonds. I mean, did you
Hmm.
notice that?
Yes.
Which brought me right back to Die Hard and the bearer bonds and the Germans. And I just thought,
Hmm.
well, that's twice in the 80s. This was a big deal.
It's a
I
big
don't know what
deal.
a bearer
Absolutely.
bond is, but it was a big part of two heists in two of the best movies of the 80s.
Well, they're untraceable, Brad. And
Ah, is
as
that
the
why?
bearer of the bond, it's just you own it, so you're good to go. They're untraceable bearer bonds, so
You
they're a
sound
good
like an
way to
80s villain. Like, you know your
move a lot of
stuff.
money. Well, thank you. The last scene that we haven't mentioned yet, um, is the scene at the club where Axel follows Victor to the club, and he pulls up to the valet, and he gets out of his
Oh,
piece
my
of
favorite
shit.
line in the movie.
Yes, you go ahead.
He goes to gets the keys to the valet and goes, "Can you put this in a good spot? Because all this shit happened last time I parked here." This piece of shit car that has all this crap on it. That's the best line in the movie right there. Perfectly
Yes.
delivered.
Yes. Well, and then I love again how he gets past the host. He's checking out the place, seeing where Victor is in the dining room, and the host says, "Can I help you?" And I just love you see him change characters in his eyes. Like, he's looking, and then it's just yes, like, and he lays out this whole story to the host because the host is like, "Well, you got a message, I'll take it to him." And he lays out this whole story that he knows damn well the host isn't gonna relay because it's very personal and sexual in nature. And Ramon basically has herpes simplex 10 and tells him that Mr. Maitland better go to his physician before things start falling off of the man. Um, so that I love there. And then also, did you notice when he walks up to Victor's table, what he says to Victor?
I do not remember.
In a kind of an odd accent, he goes, "I'm back," which
Oh,
would be a
I'll be
reference
back.
to, right, which came out earlier that year.
Ah, yes. You think
Terminator
there's a
came out.
you think there's a
Yeah.
connection there?
Well, and that shows you how the script was really never locked and how they were able to just ad lib that he's already using a line from a movie that came out the same year. So I just love that scene. I love how he gets past the host, and then what he does to Mike Ehrmantraut, just throwing him right over the buffet table, and he stands up and he just got shit all over his face and stands the whole time. Doesn't care to use his hand to wipe his face off. I mean, he is completely disheveled and covered in food. So I think
Speak
that's just a great scene.
Speaking of throwing, I also like so early on when he goes to Beverly Hills and goes to see this guy the first time, he gets thrown out of the building through a window, and then he gets arrested. But the classic Eddie Murphy reaction about how ridiculous it is that he's getting arrested for being thrown through a window, that was
Mhm.
quite funny too. And I'm sure he was just ad libbing most of that as he went too.
Right. Yeah. What's the penalty for being thrown out of a moving car? Jaywalking? Like it's just he's just making stuff up as he goes. I thought it was I mean, it was interesting how quickly the cops were there. They pulled right up on the sidewalk. Um, but yeah, it's just great to see how different he is and how much more crass and more street smart um than the guys out in Beverly Hills. So that makes it a lot of fun as a movie. Do you have some lines that you'd like to go through?
Well, we've said actually the best ones already, but I do have a couple more here. There's one very early on when he's trying to do, before the big chase scene, he's doing his
Hmm.
business with the other guys.
Yes,
And it's just another perfect Eddie Murphy delivery. I'm a businessman. That's my thing. I'm doing business.
business.
And
I also in that scene when the cops come up and they're before they like draw their guns and start the chase, he goes, "Hey, don't I know?" The cop goes to Eddie, "Don't I know you?" He goes, "That ain't me. I'm from Buffalo." Like what? It's just right away he's just deflecting. Of course, that's not me. Um, yeah, I love that line. Um,
uh,
I get,
the only other one I had is where he, in reference to the banana in the tailpipe when the guys are in trouble,
mm,
but I love because he uses like he's mimicking them and he uses a nasally
yes,
voice. You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. And
yes,
I mean, that's just because it's totally different from all the other lines by Eddie Murphy in this movie. And just another funny way of delivering something.
yes. The other one I have the scene when he's checking into the Beverly Palm and he's mentioned that he's here to do a story on Michael Jackson. And as he's leaving the counter, he just says, "If Michael calls, tell him which room I'm in." I just love how he continues the ruse even after he's gotten his way. Um, yeah, that's
Well, that's how
absolutely
you
great.
convince them.
So, can I ask you this? The strip club scene, when he gets up from his chair to approach the first bad guy and he's acting all drunk, to me, he's doing a great Richard Pryor impersonation. Don't you think he sounds a little bit like Richard there?
I'd have to
When
see
he's
it
going,
again.
"Philip!"
I've
It's
only
been a
seen it the
little
one
while.
time, so
Sure. Well, I got great job on his part and carried this movie wonderfully, I thought.
yeah.
So,
So I do have a couple just kind of final noticings as a first time viewer.
yes.
So I did go, well, first of all, this movie, as I was watching it, the first half especially, I didn't find it that funny, and it not in a bad way. Like I was enjoying it, but I didn't find it that funny, and it was giving me a total Fletch vibe. And the
Oh,
music is even
okay.
similar to the music in Fletch, and they're both in California, and so it's like there were parts there where I didn't completely agree with Siskel and Ebert, but I kind of saw what maybe they were saying because it kind of felt like it didn't know if it wanted to be a comedy or an action or what. Um, and to me, Fletch made it work a little better at sometimes, but I still liked it all the way through. I just didn't find it as funny as I thought I would, although there are some
Mhm.
great lines. Um, and I went and I mentioned to our friends, who compare things, surely can't be serious, and said, you should do
Yes.
Fletch versus Beverly Hills Cop. And Jason agreed that that was a great matchup, but they've already done both movies and other things.
Ah.
So we'd have to do that ourselves, I guess.
Mhm.
But I just find them so similar, and both really good movies, and they are comedies, but it's more about there's more going on than just being funny, and there's so many great
Right.
quotes in them. Now, on the other hand, I watched Beverly Hills Cop 2 as well the other
Hmm.
day because I heard, oh, you got to watch that one. That's really good. Don't watch 3 because 3 is terrible. I kind of like Beverly Hills Cop 2 for a while, but by the end, I was rolling my eyes out of my head. I'm not going to watch it again. It's not very good. It's not the worst movie, and if 3 is the worst movie, I can't even believe how bad it is. But it's too much of just trying to repeat the same thing over and over again.
Hmm.
Um, so I would not give a recommendation to Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Okay.
But if you've never seen them, it might be worth watching it once just to make up your own mind. But I
Sure.
didn't enjoy it. The first one, I liked it a lot. I'd watch this again. It's kind of a comfort movie. It's just kind of like you feel like you're there hanging out with Eddie Murphy and you're having a good time.
Well, and yeah, I mean that I think is the power of Eddie, right? Like, I mean, he's entertaining you, even though you may not think that you might not pick up a particular line here or there, but he's entertaining the entire way through. He's pulling that movie
He's always
on his
entertaining.
own charisma. Yeah, it's just absolutely great. I will say your comparison with Fletch is excellent because they're both bullshit artists that are
Hmm.
investigating whatever particular thing they're doing. Now, Fletch goes, further with his, you know,
Disguises and
costumes and disguises, of course. But, at their core, there's kind of the same sort of character, just
yeah, I
complete
found them to be
bullshitters.
remarkably similar in tone and feel, and
Hmm.
and that's a good thing because I love Fletch and I think they're two really good versions of that kind of movie.
Right. I agree. So with that, we are going to get into our draft for this evening. So, um, Brad was wondering what should we do. So I threw out like a fish out of water type movie, kind of a clash of cultures type situation. And we're going to draft our favorites there. Brad's got first pick this week. And what do you think?
So yeah, when you brought it up at first, I was kind of like, well, I didn't really know how to define that. And then
Yeah, I don't either.
once I started looking into my list, I have my own personal list of my 100 favorite movies.
Yep.
So I started looking at that. And by the time I was done, I had at least 10 or so written down. And then I looked up like fish out of water movies too. And
Hmm.
most of the ones I was seeing were ones I'd already thought of and picked. So I was like, I
Hmm.
felt I was really right on the right track there. And basically what it is, it's you're finding your character yourself in an unfamiliar and uncomfortable situation where you don't really belong.
Right.
And some are much more like obviously like what I think I'll probably pick with my number one pick. And some I'm sure you could argue a little bit more about what works.
Hmm.
So I mean, I didn't really need the number one pick tonight because I don't even know how to pick one above all the others. But I'm going to pick
Sure.
one that I think is probably your perfect example, and that is Elf. I mean,
See, that was one of my top two.
you pick an elf from the North Pole and you put him into
Hmm.
the human world. And I mean, even when he's in the North Pole, he's a fish out of water because he's a real person.
Yes.
So no
Yep.
matter what. So I just think, I love that movie. And it's a perfect example, I think, of what we're talking about.
It is.
Somebody
And
who does not belong. And it's very awkward.
can I say I would also like to thank my wife Courtney. She helped me put my list together for this tonight. Um, Elf was one of my top two that I really, really wanted. So if you would
Okay.
have picked, if you wouldn't have picked it, I would have. But the first one that I wrote down, and I've forgotten this movie on way too many lists, so I was not going to forget it here. And that is The Three Amigos.
See, I wrote that down too. I didn't have it
So,
as high
yeah.
because I wasn't sure it fit the definition as good as some of the others, even though it's like my favorite movie. But so I was trying to rank them by which ones I felt fit best. But yes, I have that in my top 10 here. And these are guys who have no idea what's going on.
No idea. They are completely out of their element. They
I
think they're
probably should
going
have
to a
had it
movie
higher.
set. And they think they're going to a movie set. And I mean, for crying out loud, Dusty's asking for something other than Mexican food. I mean, it's just, he has no clue where he is. So
Real
I was,
bullets.
right? Yeah. See, like they don't know what's going on. So yeah, I'm happy to get Three Amigos, and I'm happy that Elf was picked very,
Well,
very
I'm
high.
glad you caught it tonight and took it.
Yes. Well, thank you.
I'm going to go then with I'm going to go to Eddie Murphy, and there's a couple that I could pick from here.
Hmm.
But one is definitely fits. He's a prince from another country and he comes to live in New York and he doesn't know anything about it. So I'm picking Coming to America.
That is a great pick. Oh, man. Okay, so I just rewatched this movie not that long ago, and it still holds up. It's great, and it earned an Academy Award for one of their actresses, and that is My Cousin Vinny, New
Ah,
York guy going down south to try a case.
yes, I saw that on the list too. I didn't include it because that's I've never seen that movie all the way through.
Oh,
I've
it's
only seen
so
parts of it.
fun,
It's another one.
so fun.
All right. Well, I had a short 3-word title for my first pick. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take Big,
Yep.
where Tom Hanks is definitely put into an uncomfortable situation as a kid living as an adult and working in a Manhattan with a bunch of rich people in the 80s, and he doesn't have a clue how to deal with that. And it's a
Hmm.
fantastic movie. And he
It
plays it
certainly
perfectly
is.
and was nominated for an Academy Award.
Yeah, great pick. I have it on my list as well. All right. Uh, Again, because Courtney helped me put my list together, I need to pick one that she was rather emphatic about. And I actually sent you a GIF from this movie just a couple days ago. I'm going with Elle Woods in Legally Blonde.
Ah,
She's
yes, you did.
yes, and I know how much you love Miss Reese Witherspoon.
I do. That's a good one.
Yeah, she doesn't really fit in with the high academics of Harvard, but in the end, she gets things done.
All right. Geez, I don't know what to pick next because there's a lot of good ones. But I'm gonna go. I don't want to take the same actor again yet, so I'm gonna take Austin Powers.
Nice.
Moved from the '60s to the '90s and
Hmm.
doesn't have a clue how that works. Well, they should, those filthy beggars. They go from port to port.
Port to port. Well, I am going to take something in that exact same vein. I'm going with a Brendan Fraser vehicle, and I'm going with Blast from the Past.
Yeah, I saw that. I have only seen that movie once, so I didn't really
Oh,
remember
I
much about it.
love that movie so much.
Okay, so I mean, I got some real banger movies on my list
Yep.
here. Um, I got one pick left. What do I want to use for that last pick? I'm going to go with what I think is, one of the most perfect movies ever made. And it's about a kid from New Jersey that gets thrown into the world of karate and
Mm-hmm.
California and is beaten to hell and has no idea how to adjust and live there. And that would be The Karate Kid.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, this movie, a lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. I love
Uh-oh.
it. Um, and definitely clash of cultures here. I'm going Crocodile Dundee.
Ah, yeah. See, that was an obvious one too, but I had watched it just last year for my visit to Totally 80s, 90s and Recall, and that
Yeah.
movie is so damn bad that I couldn't put it on
Yep.
my list.
I
It
knew
sucks.
you I knew that you didn't like it. And I think I watched it and then I even watched the second one right after it. I think Paul Hogan's great. He's just great in that character and I
I mean,
love
it's a
it.
good example of this movie, so it's a good pick,
Yep.
but man, does it suck.
All right, what is going on our third list?
All right, well, I think we should try here. The third list should never win because it gets picked last. I mean, if we lose to the third list, that's pretty bad, but I think we got some big ones. We should try to
I
see if we
got
can.
some big ones here.
Let's see if we can get the third list to challenge and win. So
All
I'm going to
right.
go with the biggest banger. I don't know if you thought of this one, but I'm going Die Hard. John
I
McClane
didn't.
he's a cop, but California, man. He has no idea what's going on there. He's out of his element. He's on his own. And even as a cop, he's not
Oh.
fighting terrorists. Like, he's
Mhm.
making it up as he goes. And I thought about that one, and I could have picked it for my own, but,
That's a great pick. I did not have that.
yeah. So there you
Well,
go. We're starting
that
hot.
that's a banger. I'm going to put another banger in there. because of one character really being out of his element, and that's Al Chervik in Caddyshack.
Oh, I did not
He
have that
does
on my
he
list.
does not fit in with the country club types. Um, so yeah. So again,
That's
you said
true.
let's get the third list winning on this
If
thing.
you I consider that more of an ensemble, but if you focus on
Yep.
him, he
Yep.
definitely that part of it fits.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with one that was a giant movie in 1990 and
Ooh,
kind of made a superstar out of this very pretty woman, and that's
yes,
Pretty Woman with Julia
I have
Roberts
I
as
have
a
that on
hooker
my
thrown
list
into
too.
the high life in Beverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Big mistake. Big.
Big, huge. All right. So I think with my final pick on our third list, God, there's some really good ones here.
Oh, God. I got a
Well,
high one
we
left here.
we
I got to take last.
we mentioned fish out of water. Not technically a fish, but I'm going Splash.
Oh, yeah. But you don't like that movie.
I don't, but I know a lot of people do, and we're
Yeah.
pumping up list 3 this week.
And it is a great example, too. That was always one of the
Yep.
ones mentioned when you looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, for my last one, I'm going to get Eddie Murphy in there again.
Yep.
It's two guys both thrown into a fish out of water scenario. We
Mm-hmm.
just talked about it 2 months ago, and that's Trading Places.
Yep.
Because Eddie's thrown into something he's not used to, and Dan Aykroyd's thrown into something he's not used to. And it's hilarity ensues.
Well, and this was the third one of Eddie's movies that I had on my list, with Coming
Because of
to
Beverly
America,
Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop, and Trading Places. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good
All
stuff.
right.
Good stuff.
So, and I
Any
mean, I
others?
still got some good ones left here.
Well, let's hear them, sir.
So a few years ago, we did the movie Pleasantville
Yep.
with Reese Witherspoon, and her and Tobey Maguire get thrown into a 1950s TV show. Love
Mhm.
that movie. Another one that we did a while last year, I think, School of Rock. Jack Black thrown into the life of
Mhm.
a teacher. Well, not thrown into it. He did it himself, but he definitely doesn't fit in, and it's definitely awkward.
Yep.
I have Castaway on my list because, I mean, Tom Hanks is literally on his own trying to figure out life on an island. He does not know how to do that.
Mhm.
The Jerk I have on my list. I didn't think it was
Yes.
the best
Now,
example, but he is like when he gets rich and everything, he is definitely out of his elements throughout the movie in most times. And
yes.
he grew up on as a poor black kid in this little shack, and all of a sudden
Well,
he's living in mansions and
he's like Elf. Even when he was at home, he was the odd one out.
exactly very good.
So yes, I had the Jerk as well.
If we wanted to pick another banger, we could have thrown Back to the Future on there. I mean, Marty was
Yeah,
thrown into.
yeah. I felt like he kind of knew enough of what was going on. I didn't put it on my list, but I did see that one on there.
Yeah, that's why I put it lower, because even though it
Yeah.
might be the best movie, I didn't think it
Mhm.
fit the theme quite as good. Another movie we did a really long time ago, one of my favorite movies of all time, is The Way, Way Back. And the kid, the son, when they go to
Oh
their
yeah.
summer place and he has to get the job at the pool and he has to dance and he meets Sam Rockwell. That's a great coming of age movie, but it's also a total fish out of water for him.
Mhm.
Billy Madison,
Yep.
that's
And
another one.
I honestly think Happy Gilmore is a little better. You
I
know.
saw that too. Yep.
Yep. I'm a hockey player, but I'm playing
Um,
golf today.
yeah, I got three more. Borat,
Yep.
the movie Enchanted, which is actually a really good movie with Amy Adams, princess coming to life. And then, I mean, if we're going to be honest, the best movie example of all these probably should have been number one pick is The Wizard of Oz.
Yes, I have that
I mean,
as well.
Dorothy's literally thrown into I mean, that's a fish out of water. The original, one of the originals.
All right. I got City Slickers.
City Slicker.
Yep. Sister Act. The movie Spy with Melissa McCarthy. I mean, she's in the spy world, but not as a field agent, so she is definitely out of her element there. Toy Story, because Buzz believes he's, the real Buzz Lightyear and not actually a toy in that world.
True.
And the last one I have here, I love it. Went to it twice in the movie theater. That is Son-in-Law.
Ah, yes.
Pauly Shore. So
I love that list. When you brought up that topic, I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, what does that mean? But once I started writing the movies down, it's like, these are my favorite movies of all time.
Mhm.
So that was a really fun list to create and draft from. Well done.
Well, and you mentioned it earlier, we're closing the yearbook here this week. And so next month,
Oh, it's going
what
to
do
be
you
a big
think we're
month
going to be
next
getting
month.
into?
So we started with 84. We're going to go ahead 10 years to 1994.
Wow.
Next
Wow.
month. Which, and we'll tell you about it, but that was one of the first months we ever did, and it's one of the best years and most important years of our lives. So we can't wait to revisit it, and we're gonna hit the music really hard, I think, with that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And as we mentioned, we've got a very special guest for the first week coming on to do our drafts to kick off the month. So that is going to be excellent.
Yes.
So,
all right. So yeah,
well, sweet.
Yearbook is closed for now in 84. Don't go away though.
Yeah. Hey, Brad.
Hey, what?
Hey, which band has never fell for the banana in the tailpipe trick?
That would be Preacher Row.
That
That's
is
because they
correct.
use other things. They put other things in the tailpipe instead.
They put other things, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tailpipe, vacuum. Yep.
All right. Bye.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. See ya.